Hello, I'm Peter Towers, Managing Director of ESS BIZTOOLS. Welcome to Accountants Minute. Business in a post-pandemic world presents great opportunities. This is the theme of our Accountants Minute for this week, because at long last we are seeing the cessation of COVID-19 lockdowns starting to occur around Australia. And that's great news. I hope very soon we're going to get rid of these border closures also, so that business can return to normal. In our Business Advisory Services podcast, recorded late last week, I had the pleasure of having the company of Phil Chenoweth, who is the Managing Director of Bridge Global. And we spoke about the recent Zoom presentation made by Professor Terry Kramer, who's the adjunct professor at the Anderson School of Management, which is part of the UCLA, the University of California in Los Angeles. Phil Chenoweth is a close colleague of the team at UCLA, as he is the Australian representative for the university's gap field study, which we discussed later in the podcast. But in the beginning of the podcast, we looked at some of the comments that Professor Kramer had made. First of all, Phil Chenoweth indicated that Kramer, whilst he's an academic and he has been serving at Harvard University and also UCLA, is fundamentally a businessman. He's been the person who ran Vodafone in America, and he's been on the board of a number of other major corporations in America. Chenoweth indicated that UCLA is really looking into the future. What are the changes that are happening within society? How are they going to impact on people in the community and on businesses? So there was a great emphasis of looking at what the changes are going to be on people as well as on businesses. It's not exclusive a business question. He emphasized that businesses need to keep their finger on the pulse. And I could say, so do accountants. They need to be watching what is going on, because if a trend starts, it can happen quite quickly, and probably more quickly than a lot of people in business realize. And you might be left behind. My comment is that I believe there's an expectation building amongst Australian SMEs for them to be able to receive a broader range of professional services, basically a virtual Chief Financial Officer service from now on for a significant number of these businesses. The first group they're going to look to supply those services are accountants. But if accountants are not able to supply those services, I'm sure another group will emerge. So the ball is at the feet of accountants all over Australia. Do you want to supply these services or not? Because businesses in 2022, I really believe, based on what Professor Kramer had to say, will be entering into boom conditions and will be looking for additional support. Kramer also said in his presentation, there is a strong expectation to follow a boom to follow COVID-19, just as what happened in 1919 at the end of Spanish flu. And he said this ushered in the era which is now known as the Roaring Twenties, which presented great opportunities to business people in that era. Apparently it was where Henry Ford got his start in the manufacture of motor vehicles. So the real question is your accountancy firm geared up to be able to supply the type of services that the market is looking for now at the end of 21 and as we go into 2022. Phil Chenoweth also spoke about the opportunities for businesses in Australia who are exporting to be able to access assistance from the UCLA Gap Field Study. This is a process whereby a company applies, and over 90 companies have been accepted over the last 15 years from Australia. But to give you some idea of the quantity, 20 companies a year are accepted from New Zealand, around 40 companies a year from Finland. So there's a lot of potential expansion from the Australian market. Phil Chenoweth, as the Australian representative for this program, is looking to hear from companies and accountants all over Australia as to the companies that you're involved with or you're assisting that are keen to export and are keen to expand their business operations. So if you're interested, please contact Phil, and his contact details appear in the transcript that we've forwarded to you as part of Accountant's Minute. The cost is around $20,000 as a direct payment to the UCLA. Phil indicated that he thought the total cost, because of some travelling that the Australian business will have to make, probably twice a year or twice in the 6 months, this is only a 6 months program, twice in the 6 months to California, and some accommodation over there about a week at a time on both occasions. So the total cost could end up about $50,000. He thinks most of this is claimable under the Export Market Development Grant if the company is committed to exporting. You don't have to be a company to get the Export Market Development Grant, of course, but you have to be a company to be able to participate in this program. So Phil is keen to hear from you, and you can talk to him and introduce your clients and work with him in conjunction with your clients. Just to finish this overview today, please take note of what Professor Kramer's saying. Data is king. The custodians of data for your clients should be you. It starts with things like key performance indicators. It moves through the proper presentation of budgets and cash flow forecasts. Not just last year's figures plus a percentage, but drilling down and calculating real scenarios to calculate what the effect's going to be in the business. And then a projected balance sheet so that your client can see what's going to happen in the future. It is built around a daily, weekly, monthly cycle of meetings within a business. And if you're performing the roles of virtual CFO, it's important that you are participating in that, or your nominee within your firm, so that you can be actively involved in supplying the services as if you were located there on a full-time basis. Because this is the model that I really believe thousands of Australian SMEs require. They are not wealthy enough or have enough income to justify the employment of a full-time CFO. But many of them have got a real need for someone supplying a range of services that the cost might end up $20,000 to $40,000 to $50,000. It's a lot cheaper than a full-time CFO person working for them. And with an accounting firm supplying it, you should be able to give them the a breadth of knowledge and services in that package. It won't just be one person. So that's the opportunity. Now, I honestly believe that ESS BIZTOOLS has got the best range of products in Australia to assist you to be able to start offering business advisory services. And because of the problems from COVID-19, we have introduced a 53% discount on our starter package, the Business Advisory Services Starter Package, You can subscribe to that for an upfront payment for 12 months of only $999, including GST. You will get 17 product packages, which will give you a range of services you can start supplying to your clients. And someone said to me the other day, Peter, it doesn't include research and development. What happens if someone wants to do research and development? I said, that's easy. You make a phone call to us or send me an email, and we will give you a price to add whatever additional packages you want onto yours. We can just keep on adding it on so that you are able to support the services that your clients are looking for you to supply to them. So I look forward to being of great service to you and to your team as you look at confronting the challenges of this 2022 era. We've got the final 10 weeks or so of this year, and then we've got next year. It's a great opportunity for accountants to really claim control of this emerging virtual CFO service to Australian SMEs. Stay safe. Have a great day. Goodbye.